Welcome to the debate. So picture this. It is 2022, right? A major national team is in a crucial knockout match.
High stakes.
Exactly. Incredibly high stakes. And their analytics dashboard tells the manager to substitute his star striker in the 80th minute. The system had detected a 3% drop in the player's stride efficiency.
Which is the tiny margin, honestly.
It is, but it's significant. Anyway, the manager, trusting his gut, completely ignores the tablet on the bench. And, well, 10 minutes later, that exact striker tears his hamstring.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So today we are diving into a really fundamental shift in modern football. The core question we are looking at is, can data analysis and artificial intelligence effectively replace the traditional instinct of the coach? Like, have we reached a point where the calculating hum of a server room actually beats the seasoned intuition of a veteran manager?
It is a profound question. And honestly, it gets to the very soul of the sport. I mean, we are looking at recent, extensive documentation detailing how national teams, elite academies, they are all utilizing AI for, well, pretty much everything now.
Oh, absolutely everything.
Yeah, from World Cup squad selection to real-time tactical adjustments, injury prevention, the infiltration of technology is just absolute at this point.
It really is. And, in our discussion today, I will be taking the perspective of the modern data scientist. My position here is that the sheer volume of high-resolution tracking and the predictive power of machine learning models, they render traditional human guesswork obsolete. It is inherently flawed. We now have the empirical tools to mathematically decode the sport.
Right. And I will be coming at this from the perspective of the traditional coach. Look, I acknowledge that data is a phenomenally powerful tool, but I will argue that it can never entirely replace human judgment. It cannot replace the emotional intelligence you need in a locker room or a coach's unique ability to navigate the brilliantly unpredictable chaos of a live match.
Well, let's lay our cards on the table then. From a data science perspective, human observation is just fundamentally limited.
Limited how exactly?
Well, it is constrained by cognitive bias for one, by memory decay, and quite frankly, by the sheer biological limits of the human eye. The brain can only track a few moving objects at the exact same time.
Sure, I can agree with that.
But on a football pitch, you have 22 players, right? You have the ball, the referee, the shifting spatial dynamics between all of them. The modern game is simply too fast. When a national team arrives at a World Cup today, they aren't just bringing a notebook anymore. They are bringing optical tracking cameras, GPS vests, ball sensors.
Yeah, and if you are listening to this, you've probably seen those basic heat maps or distance-covered stats on the TV broadcasts. But what are we actually tracking here that changes the game so radically? Because, we've had running stats for 2 decades.
Right, but it is not just about how far someone runs anymore. It is about context. We are talking about devices that log player positions, speeds, accelerations, multidimensional coordinates, 50 to 100 times per second.
Wow.
Yeah, it's massive. What that data creates is a high-resolution digital twin of each match. Think about the historical concept of coaching instinct. A coach watches a match and feels, they just feel that a team is losing control of the midfield.
Which is a valid feeling.
But memory is selective. AI transforms that vague, subjective feeling into empirical certainty. By utilizing pitch control models, which mathematically calculate which team owns every square inch of the grass based on player momentum, we no longer have to guess if a pressing trigger is failing.
I see.
The data provides a complete, objective reconstruction of reality. It turns football from an art based on feeling into a science based on physics.
Okay. That is a staggering amount of information. I will concede that. But my counter to that is pretty simple. Algorithms assume players are chess pieces.
Well, they are data points.
Sure, but a chess piece doesn't panic when it plays an away match at Galatasaray in front of 50,000 screaming fans, right? Football is played on grass by human beings who are subject to fear, adrenaline, exhaustion, inspiration. You are trying to quantify fear, and math cannot do that.
It quantifies the physical output of that fear, though.
But AI offers probabilities, not certainties. The documentation we are examining clearly emphasizes that over-reliance on metrics risks losing the vital human element. A sophisticated tracking system might tell you a player's sprint speed is optimal, but it cannot look into a player's eyes and see if they have the actual confidence to take a crucial penalty.
But confidence itself often stems from preparation, and preparation is exactly what data provides.
Preparation is part of it, yes, but human connection is the bedrock. Look, AI is a super smart assistant. It watches, it remembers, it analyzes historical data, and it suggests improvements. But it is the human coach who must actually lead.
A leader informed by data.
Exactly, informed by data. But the final judgment call, the emotional weight of a decision, that belongs to the human. A machine cannot inspire. And without inspiration, you cannot win a World Cup.
Okay, you make a fair point about the emotional environment of a tournament. But locker room chemistry and inspiration, they don't matter at all if you don't even make it to the tournament because you picked the wrong squad.
Well, obviously, squad selection is important.
Let's look at the math of that, the squad selection and cross-league scouting. National team coaches face what used to be an impossible mathematical task, which is choosing a balanced squad from players who compete in entirely different domestic leagues.
Right, comparing apples and oranges.
Exactly. Historically, coaches relied on their eye for talent, or an isolated scouting trip. How do you objectively compare a striker scoring 15 goals a season in Brazil with a striker scoring 10 goals a season in Germany?
Well, a seasoned scout understands the physical demands of the Bundesliga versus the technical rhythm of the Brasileirão. It is about context. The scout provides that context.
I see why you think that, but let me give you a different perspective. Comparing players across different leagues by eye is like comparing currencies without knowing the exchange rate. AI provides the exact mathematical conversion.
I have to admit, I am struggling a bit with the idea of cross-league normalization. It sounds like a tech buzzword, honestly. Are you saying a computer just assigns some arbitrary handicap to the Brazilian league?
No, it is far from arbitrary. Let's break down how the algorithm actually does this. The AI evaluates the environmental pressure of every single touch a player takes.
Every single touch?
Yes, it looks at the average sprint velocity of the defenders in that specific league. It measures the PPDA, which is passes allowed per defensive action, which tells us exactly how intensely a league presses the ball.
Okay, I follow.
So if the Brazilian striker scores his 15 goals in a league where defenders give him an average of 2.5 seconds on the ball, but the German striker scores 10 goals in a league where he only gets 1.2 seconds, the AI standardizes those environments.
It mathematically alters the stats.
Right. It artificially adjusts the Brazilian striker's data to see how his decision-making holds up under the 1.2-second pressure of the Bundesliga. It strips away the environmental noise so the coaching staff can compare them purely on underlying performance.
I come at it from a different way. That mathematical conversion assumes the formula itself is flawless, which the source material explicitly warns us against. We really have to talk about model bias here.
Bias in the data collection?
Exactly. AI is trained on historical data. And where does the vast majority of highly structured, meticulously tagged football data come from? Elite European club football, the Champions League, the Premier League.
The data sets are massive globally now, though.
Massive, yes, but still skewed. When an algorithm tries to judge a player from a less studied league, it can severely misjudge them because its baseline for optimal play is entirely European-centric.
It is just looking for efficiency.
But efficiency looks different everywhere. It might penalize a brilliant, unorthodox playmaker from a smaller federation simply because his playing style doesn't fit the optimized model of what a good pass looks like in England. You are passing judgment through a culturally biased lens.
The models are continually improving, though, as data collection becomes more democratized globally. Furthermore, these models don't just look at isolated individuals. They actually predict likely on-field chemistry between combinations of players.
Predicting chemistry with a computer?
Yes, hear me out. If your Brazilian winger occupies the exact same half spaces as your German attacking midfielder, the AI flags a spatial conflict. It is not just looking at goals, it is looking at real estate on the pitch.
That is an interesting point, though I would frame it differently. When you talk about algorithms predicting chemistry through spatial real estate, you are fundamentally misunderstanding what chemistry actually is in a football team.
I think spatial harmony is a big part of it.
It is a tactical part, sure. But chemistry isn't just about whether a winger's heat map complements a fullback's passing range. Chemistry is about human personalities. It is about how two players communicate after a huge mistake. It is about trust.
But he can't measure trust.
That is exactly my point. An algorithm cannot quantify the leadership a veteran brings to a hotel dining room, or how that translates into a young defender holding the line under immense psychological pressure. If you rely solely on your standardized metrics, you might select 26 mathematically perfect individuals who completely fall apart as a collective when they go a goal down.
Okay, let's say we disagree on how those 26 players are selected. But once they are in the camp, how do you prepare them for the actual 90 minutes of play? Tactical preparation is where the super smart assistant begins to look a lot more like a master strategist.
I'm listening.
Before a ball is even kicked, AI reconstructs hundreds of hours of match footage using computer vision.
But scouting tape has existed forever. I can sit in a dark room and watch the opponent's corners. What is actually different about computer vision?
What is different is the extraction of data that the human eye simply cannot perceive. Computer vision doesn't just watch the video, it fundamentally deconstructs it.
Deconstructs it how?
The algorithm places a bounding box around every single player on the screen. It then maps the skeletal frame onto those players, extracting up to 29 different joint locations. We're talking ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, multiple times per second. It basically turns a flat 2D video broadcast into a fully 3D spatial coordinate system.
So it is analyzing body mechanics?
Exactly. It breaks down player technique into microscopic parts. It measures the exact degree of a striker's hip rotation before they shoot. But more importantly for tactics, it finds hidden opponent tendencies across thousands of possessions.
Give me an example from the material.
Okay, it can tell a coach definitively that when the opposing right back receives the ball under pressure, his hips instinctively open to the inside 72% of the time. Or on set pieces, the AI maps the exact spatial coordinates of defensive markers, revealing that they reliably leave a half yard of space near the near post.
So you exploit that?
Yes. A coach then designs a highly specific set-piece routine to exploit that exact mathematical vulnerability. You simply cannot tell me a traditional coach watching tape on a television screen is mentally calculating the spatial vulnerabilities of defensive markers as effectively as a skeletal mapping algorithm.
That's a compelling argument. But have you considered the fundamental nature of a live football match? It is not a closed, sterile system.
It operates on the laws of physics.
But the data you are talking about, those highly specific set-piece vulnerabilities, the hip rotation of the right back, they tell you what happened in the past. They tell you what a team prefers to do under normal, predictable conditions.
Past behavior is the most reliable predictor of future performance, though.
Until the unpredictable happens. And in a high-stakes knockout match, the unpredictable routinely shatters model predictions. What happens to your perfectly calculated, mathematically optimal near-post set-piece routine when a referee makes a controversial call in the first 5 minutes and the opponent goes down to 10 men?
Well, the model can account for red cards.
What happens when a goalkeeper makes an inspired, miraculous save that statistically should have been a goal, and suddenly the emotional momentum of the stadium shifts entirely? A data model cannot calculate the weight of a hostile crowd or a last-minute tactical gamble born out of sheer desperation.
It calculates the changing probabilities.
But in those moments of chaos, the pristine tactical plan burns up. It is the coach's instinct, their ability to read the shifting, emotional landscape of the present that navigates the team through the storm.
But that chaos is exactly why we need real-time data. When the game descends into chaos, human emotion clouds judgment. Panic sets in. That is why the integration of real-time bench decisions and injury management is perhaps the greatest triumph of AI in football. We are no longer just preparing for the match, we are actively decoding it as it happens on the touchline.
Decoding the match from the bench? Hold on, you're telling me a manager is supposed to look down at an iPad while the most important game of their life is happening right in front of them? How is a tablet on the bench spotting a problem before my highly trained medical staff does?
Because the tablet sees what your medical staff biologically cannot see. Within minutes, coaches receive near-live analytics. Let's look at the physical reality of players fatiguing.
They get tired, they slow down.
But it's deeper than that. Wearables and tracking systems collect data on speed, acceleration, and workload, comparing it instantly to a player's historical baseline. The AI can spot a 3% deviation in stride length.
A 3% deviation. Look, a good coach can see when a player is heavy-legged. They don't need a push notification for that.
I'm not convinced by that line of reasoning because a human coach simply cannot process thousands of biomechanical data points in real time.
But do they need to?
Yes. What does a 3% stride deviation actually mean? It means the player is unconsciously favoring one leg because micro tears in the muscle are accumulating lactic acid, fundamentally changing their mechanical load.
Right.
A coach might see a player breathing heavily, but they cannot visibly measure the biomechanical overload that precedes a catastrophic muscle tear. These data-driven cues trigger logical, potentially career-saving substitutions.
Assuming the coach listens.
Exactly. Instead of a coach making an emotional, delayed reaction, like waiting until the player actually pulls a hamstring, like the manager in our opening example, the AI provides a probabilistic warning. It identifies risk signs before they become visible to the naked eye. It prescribes intervention over instinct.
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that. Let me tell you why. You are assuming that the presence of an alert mandates an immediate action, but that completely ignores the psychological landscape of the sport. The source material we are discussing explicitly states that the goal of real-time AI is to give clear signals, not to force decisions.
But a rational actor would follow the signal that the data is highly accurate. The risk of an injury or conceding a goal down that flank mathematically outweighs the statistical probability of that exhausted player contributing defensively.
Exactly. Mathematically speaking, but football isn't purely rational. Let's go back to your scenario. It is the 80th minute of a World Cup quarterfinal. Your data dashboard lights up. It flags that your star winger's stride length is altered. They have micro tears accumulating, and they are objectively fatigued.
So you take them off.
A data scientist would pull that player off immediately. But the traditional coach knows that this specific star player, even exhausted, terrifies the opposing fullback just by being on the pitch.
A tactical advantage.
More than tactical. The coach knows that this player has the mental resilience, the sheer willpower to produce one moment of absolute magic. A single free kick, a single perfect cross that can win the match.
Even at the cost of a torn hamstring?
The coach has to weigh the algorithm's biomechanical warning against the player's immeasurable heart. If you substitute your talisman based on a stride metric, you might deflate your entire team's belief. You might signal to the opponent that you are retreating. The data advises, absolutely. It is brilliant for telling me the winger is objectively tired and running a physical risk. But the coach, the human being who understands the narrative of the game, the emotional weight of the moment, and the psychology of the opponent, the coach decides.
I understand the romance of that perspective, I truly do. But as we look toward the future trends outlined in the material, the gap where that romance lives is shrinking by the day.
I don't know if it will ever fully close.
The evolution of AI is moving toward deeper predictive simulation tools. Soon, algorithms will test entire tournament scenarios millions of times over before the first whistle even blows. We are moving toward perfectly integrated medical platforms that share anonymized injury data globally.
It is a lot of data sharing.
Right, allowing models to predict those micro tears with near absolute certainty. As these tools become more sophisticated, the margin for error that we currently excuse as human instinct will become a massive competitive liability. When your opponent has a team of data detectives and computer vision models studying skeletal frames to optimize mid-game moves, relying on a coach's gut feeling will be like navigating a transatlantic flight by looking at the stars when you have a GPS system right in front of you.
Nice analogy.
Thank you. It might be poetic, but it won't win you a modern World Cup. The sport is undeniably becoming fairer, safer, and mathematically optimized.
Optimized, perhaps, but not solved. And honestly, it never will be. Because no matter how advanced those simulation tools become, no matter how seamlessly you integrate medical platforms and normalize cross-league data to the decimal point, you cannot automate the essence of the game.
I suppose that depends on how you define essence.
AI is an incredible tool. I won't deny that. It spots the tiny spatial habits we miss, it maps out vulnerabilities, it helps keep our players healthy, and it forces coaches to be sharper. I do not deny that it has permanently changed the landscape. But technology does not replace a player's creativity.
Sure.
It cannot calculate the sheer force of human will. It does not replace the chaotic moments of pure luck that define knockout tournaments. And it certainly cannot replicate the emotional power of a manager who knows exactly what to say to a broken team at halftime. The baseline of how the sport is understood has been elevated by data. Yes, but the ceiling of what a team can achieve is still dictated by the human spirit.
It seems we have reached a point of convergence on at least one reality here. AI provides vital, high-resolution information that has permanently elevated the baseline of how football is understood, prepared for, and played. The modern game is just inextricably linked to the data it generates.
Agreed. A coach today who completely ignores the pitch control models, the skeletal mapping, and the fatigue metrics is a coach who will simply not survive at the elite level. It is a necessary partnership even if we fundamentally disagree on who is the senior partner.
Which leaves us with a fascinating tension to consider as the sport marches forward. Will the relentless advancement of machine learning eventually map the human spirit you speak of, turning confidence, fear, and leadership into just another quantifiable metric?
Or will the beautifully chaotic nature of football always hold a sacred, unpredictable space that only human intuition can navigate?
That is the beautiful mystery of the game. We will leave you, the listener, to ponder that. Next time you watch a crucial knockout match, take a moment to look at the touchline. Look past the players, past the tactical formations, and ask yourself, does the true future of this beautiful game lie in the silent hum of the server room or the manager's gut? Thank you for listening.